Hi friends, welcome to I Can Do Math. I'm Miss Lindsay and I am so excited to be learning with you today. Before we get started, let's prepare our minds to learn. Repeat after me. Say, I can do math. Great job. I believe that and I hope that you do too, because I'm going to need your help today. Remember, I'm in a competition with my sister and we need to find a fraction that's greater than 3/4 so that when she goes on her run tomorrow morning and runs 3/4 of a mile, I can make sure to run more than her. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch our last video comparing fractions part 1, go ahead and click right here. But if you're ready to continue, our I can statement for today is I can compare fractions with different numerators and denominators. To do that, I want you to be listening and responding to me as you watch. Go ahead and pause the video, grab some paper and a pencil, and let's win this competition. What if I ran 4/5 of a mile? Is 3/4 greater than, less than, or equal to 4/5? We'll have to compare these fractions. How did we say that we can compare fractions when they have different numerators and denominators? That's right, we can draw number lines. So let's draw some number lines together. Remember, when comparing fractions, we want the number lines to be one on top of the other so that we can see which one is greater. They'll both start at 0 and end at 1 mile, which is our whole. The first number line will be drawn exactly the same as we did last time. We have 4 parts in our fraction, so we'll jump by 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, or our whole. Now what about 4/5? Can you tell me again how many parts are in our fraction, or how many jumps we'll have to make on the number line? Great job! 5, or 1/5. So we'll jump by 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5, or our whole. So I'll draw a dot on 3/4, and I'll also draw a dot on 4/5. Then we'll take a line and draw it through our 3/4, and you see it hits a little bit greater than our second number line. And this point right here is 3/4. And it looks like 3/4 is greater than 4/5. I'm not so sure about that. You see, when I was drawing my number line, I kind of made a little bit of a mistake. I didn't put as much spaces as I should have, and that's just because I'm freehand drawing it. So I can't be extra sure that 3/4 is greater than 4/5. I might be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong because I really want to win this competition. So it looks like we're going to have to do something else when comparing our fractions, because if we take a look at our number line, all these spaces aren't even. So how am I supposed to compare fractions with different numerators and denominators if I can't draw number lines? If you remember from the beginning of our video, when we were comparing those fractions, it was a lot easier when the denominators were the same. That means if I want to compare fractions with different numerators and denominators, I'll have to make the denominators the same. How could we do that? You see, we're going to have to find what's called a least common denominator. Do you know what that sound means? That means we've just discovered a new math term. Our new math term is least common denominator. Go ahead and say that with me. Least common denominator. Least common denominator is when we find the smallest multiple that our denominators have in common. So when we take a look at our fractions, we know that our denominators are 4 and 5. And if we want to find the least common denominator, we're going to have to find the multiples of 4 and 5. But maybe you're asking, what's a multiple? Well, the multiple is the product of any number times our denominators. So multiples of 4 would be any number times 4. Let's write these multiples out. Let's take any number, we'll just say 1, and multiply it by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So we know that 4 is a multiple of 4. Now what about 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 is a multiple of 4. Let's keep going. 4 times 3 is 12. And 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. And we'll go ahead and stop there. Now we've written the multiples of 4. Or we've written numbers, any number times 4, and these are their products. Let's do the same thing for 5. So 5 times 1 is 5. That means that 5 is a product of 5 times 1, or 5 is a multiple of 5, which makes sense since 4 is also a multiple of 4. Let's keep going. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. And 5 times 4 is 20. And it looks like we can stop there. We've written our multiples of 4, our multiples of 5, until we found a number they have in common. So we've now identified the least common multiple, or our multiples of 4 and 5, and the one they have in common. Now we have to change the denominators of our two fractions so that the denominator is the smallest multiple between our two numbers. So we'll start with 3/4. And we need to change that to a fraction that the denominator is 20. We said that 4 times 5 equals 20, and what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 3 times 5, can you tell me what that equals? That's right, 3 times 5 equals 15. So we've just changed 3/4 to equal 15/20. Now we have to change the fraction 4/5 so that it has a denominator that equals 20. We said that 5 times 4 equals 20, and what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So, tell me, what is 4 times 4? 16, exactly. So instead of comparing 3/4 and 4/5, we've changed those fractions to compare 15/20 and 16/20. Go ahead and get your hands ready again and tell me, is 15/20 greater than, less than, or equal to 16/20? Great job! It's less than, which means that when we take a look at our original fractions, 15/20 equals 3/4. So 3/4 is less than 4/5. That means I did write my number lines wrong, and 4/5 actually is greater than 3/4. We found our fraction. If I run 4/5 of a mile tomorrow, that means that I'll run more than my sister and win our competition. Thank you so much for your help. In today's video, we learned how to compare fractions with different numerators and denominators. One way we can compare these fractions is by drawing number lines. But sometimes, since we're human and we make mistakes, we don't always draw the number lines as accurately as we should. And that's okay, because then we can use a least common denominator, which was our new math term for today. So now I want you to have the chance to try this. Go ahead and pause the video and tell me, is 2/5 greater than, less than, or equal to 7/10? Did you say it's less than? That's right. And if you didn't get that answer, that's okay too. go ahead and watch this video again and make sure that you follow all the steps with me. Either way, remember, you can do math. It looks like that's all we have time for. I've got to start stretching for my run tomorrow, but I will see you guys next time.